Thanks for coming over here for the Tanzu session. And I guess Tanzu has gone through many incarnations. So today we will hear about our strategy, roadmap, and also get some fantastic demos from Oren here. And we'll hear from a customer. So my name is Purnima Padmanabhan. I'm the general manager for the Tanzu division. Let's see. Disclaimer, please. Okay, so often when I talk to people, sometimes people don't know what is Tanzu. Say, what is Tanzu? Why do I need it in life? And I always say that, look, it all starts with, today you are all in businesses, and business agility and speed is the most important thing. And business agility is driven by application agility, right? And the difference between leaders and laggards is spectacular. The time it takes once you have built code or an application, and the time it takes to get it to production for a leading company can be just 1 day. But for a company that is a laggard, it can take up to 6 months. So imagine you've wasted 6 months of your business time trying to get the application out to production. And so when we think of our goal is really to solve that problem and make sure that anybody who uses the Tanzu platform can be at the leading edge of that scale. Now, what are some of the problems that we hear when we say, I want application velocity, right? What are the problems people hear? Some of the problems are like, how many days? I have built this beautiful application. How many days does it take to get to production? How do I make sure that when it gets to production, my application stays resilient? That is what developers are asking. And IT operations and platform engineers are asking, how do I make sure that I have the same process for every app and every business unit? How do I make sure that everything in the infrastructure and application stays patched, updated, and compliant? So this dichotomy is not new, but these questions are unique to the app velocity and app development processes. So we said we will take a different take on this problem statement. And this different take actually comes from our heritage. Tanzu, we were the pioneers in this space of app platform. We have over a decade of experience with Cloud Foundry, with Tanzu Application Service and Pivotal Cloud Foundry. And we borrowed some tenets. It's almost going back to the future with some things that are truly powerful. And we said, okay, if you have to have application velocity, the life of a developer must be simple and easy. And a developer experience must be simple for it to be secure. You make a developer do YAML files, Helm charts, and other gobbledygook, you're going to get problems. You're going to get security issues. The second thing we said is that infrastructure operations can no longer be template-driven. You cannot just drive your infrastructure with Terraform templates or Ansible templates or whatever those may be. Infrastructure should dynamically be provisioned, adapted, and scaled based on application needs. That means if I say my application wants HA, automatically give me 2 clusters. Don't ask me for a template for 2 clusters, right? That is the big ask that we're making of what that approach should be. And finally, a platform cannot be static. It has to dynamically adapt to the changes in the environment, which means as CVEs happen, as issues come up, it should be dynamically repaired. You should be able to repave your entire environment so that a vulnerability never causes the problem. God forbid anybody gets the recent incident that we had with Cloudflare? CloudStorm. Yeah. Yes. So if you are constantly repaving your environment, it means you get back to a golden state and you flush out any issues. And you also want to take care of credential management, no hard-coded keys, everything is continuously rotated. So those are the 3 main tenets. Keep the developer experience simple, make sure your infrastructure is dynamically provisioned and updated, and make sure that you're always secure and patched. If you can take care of those, why would your application velocity not be high? Why would it not be just 1 day to production? And that's what we are doing with the Tanzu platform. The goal of Tanzu platform is to help you develop, operate and optimize your applications at scale, be it on private or public cloud, be it on a Cloud Foundry-based environment or on a Kubernetes-based environment. And we do this by making those three tenets real. So let's tell you what we're doing. When it comes to develop, we're saying we will give you a simple developer framework. We are a polyglot platform. We support .NET and Spring, but we also provide developer framework with the right sets of conventions, which Oren, you're going to show, right?
Yep.
And we pair it with a set of golden operations. Simple operations: build, bind, deploy, scale. No YAML files, no detailed 10-page configuration templates, so that a developer can be off to the races as soon as they build the application. A dynamic runtime that takes that intent of the developer and immediately deploys it to the environment. And finally, the ability to take fundamentally powerful concepts that we laid down in Cloud Foundry, but bring it to the whole platform and even extend it to Kubernetes, which is continuous repair, repave, and rotate of credentials and environments. And that is what is Tanzu Platform. Tanzu Platform, what we have done, you have heard many words, many terms. All of you know. How many of you know TAS? How many of you know TAP? Oh, lots of you. So we have taken those platform constructs of TAS and TAP and said, really, we are all going towards the same objective. And that objective is to deploy applications fast and easy. And so whether it is Kubernetes or Cloud Foundry, why should your experience for the developer be different? We have taken that experience and made it common across both of those. So what does the platform look like? You heard the VCF story, so of course there are some changes here too. So we took the alphabet soup of various products that we had and said, it is not about technology, it's not about Kubernetes, but it is about the application platform. And how can we connect all the dots for you and give you a singular Tanzu platform? And I'll tell you what is there in the Tanzu platform. The platform should be enable you to build apps quickly and deploy them anywhere quickly. That is it. It's a very simple objective. And then we said we will pair Tanzu platform with Tanzu data. You cannot build applications without data. And many of you have data in your environments that are critical to your enterprise context. And we have probably underrepresented the powerful solutions that we have in the portfolio that allow you to do things like data warehousing, data caching, databases, as well as messaging, all of that baked into Tanzu Data Solutions. So the combined Tanzu platform plus Tanzu Data gives you a powerful platform and a complete platform to build your applications at scale. And we pair this with Tanzu Labs that gives you the critical capabilities and expertise to get you started quickly. Now we have one more product in the portfolio you see, which is Tanzu Cloud Health, which is our FinOps capability, and that then allows you to manage the cost across clouds. So let's delve into what is inside Tanzu Platform. And I'm going to click to the next slide here. Yeah. So again, back from a bag of parts to a solution. So Tanzu Platform is truly a complete solution. It gives you the runtime, both Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes-based application platform runtime. I'm not talking about Kubernetes dial tone. Kubernetes dial tone is a commodity. If you go to public cloud, you get EKS, AKS, GKE. On a private cloud now, Kubernetes dial tone is baked into VCF. You all heard that in the general session. So just like you vend VMs from vSphere, you can now vend containers and clusters. But that doesn't give you an app platform. That doesn't give you automatic build. That doesn't give you automatic deploy and provisioning and update and security. That is what comes with Tanzu Platform, right? So both Kubernetes and Cloud Foundry runtime. We also have baked in addition to support for .NET and Python, deep expertise on Java and Spring. And Spring extended support is now included in the platform. When I say extended support, Spring support is for 12 months to 18 months, and beyond that, all the support is included in the platform. We include hardened OS for about 200 OSS applications baked into the platform. We have also included AI/ML services with Spring AI and Tanzu AI baked into the platform. You can also get application integrations. If you are building applications, you're probably looking for an API gateway. If you are building applications, you're probably looking for a way to do data transformations. Look no further. It's baked into the platform as part of Java and Spring, truly speeding up your development processes. If you're looking for databases and messaging services, whether it is Postgres, MySQL, RabbitMQ, you can simply instantiate on the platform with both Kubernetes operators and Cloud Foundry tiles. And finally, OS configuration management. So when you think about it, this is really a complete solution for you to build your applications. And all those other names that you see on the side are things that you don't have to now go and hunt around and try to create a patchwork of solutions. So when customers adopt Tanzu Platform and this core concept of develop, operate, optimize, they see huge results. And we did an enterprise strategy group survey. Many of our customers, like yourselves, are large enterprise companies, so I can't share the logos. But releases went from 4 to 90 per year, right, with adoption. Applications run twice as fast as before. When you are current, when you are patched, when you have latest repave operations happening, you get the best of your hardware. So applications run faster than before. Your Tanzu platform has given a better ROI because of the acceleration from code to production. And finally, patching. How many times I have heard, I've spoken to customers and it's like I can't count the number of times where customers have said, I can't move forward because I'm not patched. But when you do this consistent application infrastructure that is regularly repaved and patched, not on 6-month basis, not on monthly basis, but on a weekly basis, you truly have a self-compliant solution. So with that, let me get into a few components of the Tanzu platform. We don't have a screen here, so I have to look backwards. Oren is going to help me demo also some of the capabilities, Director of Product Strategy here. So let's click into develop. Right? Develop, operate, optimize of applications. How do we do that? So when it comes to develop, again, something that we haven't really talked much about it is, there are 2 parts of the develop. First is, how can you build applications faster? And we have this framework of conventions, this framework of technologies that takes boring things from develop away. How should I do logging? How should I do circuit breaker? How should I do MTLS? How should I do audit and authentication? Why should you do this every time for every app again and again? And imagine we could give you a framework where all that is stubbed out and you're just writing the business logic. Everything else just comes with the platform and with the framework. And now you will hear more about this. We have also added an AI/ML capability. And that is really cool because what you do with AI/ML capabilities, rather than writing for application for each model and connecting each LLM model separately, now you have a framework that just says, wait, just connect to the model, and then you change out the models based on your application needs. So a framework can take the pain of writing code and significantly shorten it. I think the most eye-opening example, I shouldn't say this, but I've seen what was yesterday. At Spring 1, one of our developer experts, Josh Long, wrote a code live in the conference, live, on stage. And within 10 minutes, he had an application not only written, but also connected to a generative AI model and with a chat interface that was working. That was quite stunning. Now, the reason he was able to do is because this framework had stubbed out everything, and he just had to write the business logic. And of course, he's a genius. So that apart, maybe it's not 10 minutes, but you could do it in 10 hours, right? That is speed, that is efficiency, that is power at your fingertips. And then what we did is we didn't stop there. We said whether it is Kubernetes or Cloud Foundry, with the framework, you wrote this beautiful code, we will give your developers, we will give you the ability to curate for your developers just 4 golden operations. Hey, take my code and build it into a secure container. Look at all the patches, look at all the packages, look at all the data and external dependency and convert it into a container. And whether I deploy it on Cloud Foundry or Kubernetes is immaterial. It's the same container. Deploy it for me. Bind it to external services like databases. And finally, scale it out when I need. So, Oren, you think you can demo this?
I will try.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Way to go, Oren.
So I'm gonna switch a couple of hats here. And that was a great example of like Spring AI and how Spring AI helps developers. I'm starting with an application that sells metal albums, and I'm the developer of that application. I need to add now an AI component. So I'm a Spring developer, not an AI developer. I need to know how to create that architecture and connect to backend services that will allow me to consume those models and embeddings and connect to my vector DB and everything else. Now, that's the final outcome. Eventually, that's what I will have. I will have the same application with a chatbot connected to backend AI services that runs on my Cloud Foundry, by the way. So we've talked about two different runtimes. We've talked about Kubernetes and Cloud Foundry and how we can use or utilize any of them for our experience. So let's start from the beginning. I'm the developer. I have the application. I want to add that AI chatbot. And I'm using the Tanzu application accelerators, which allows me with a simple form to add or onboard that chat capabilities and connect to backend services with everything that has like inside the code. And I will show you the code as well as an outcome. But simple questions: what is the LLM that you want to use? Do you want to add the Spring AI capabilities to connect to those different LLMs that is exposed to me as a developer? How do you want the answer to be? Do you want to like the model to state that it doesn't know and just try to guess it or not? Refer to a document that the model was dependent on or not? What's the database that will be used for vector DB? In this case, we're going to use the Tanzu PostgreSQL as part of the Tanzu data. And where do you want to run it? Because there's a lot of configuration that will also going to be specific for the runtime environment that you will run. Another thing that we announced is the Tanzu AI capabilities with API Gateway, and we are using that Tanzu AI for brokering different models and different suppliers. So eventually, the outcome of that application accelerator is the files that you see in my Java code that was automatically created for me. And instead of creating a lot of different code bits, just with one line, I'm referring to any vector DB that Spring AI project is supporting. And you see a lot of different options of vector DB. Same goes for the chat client. Just by adding that chat client into my Java class, I now can consume anything that the Spring AI project supports. And instead of creating a lot of code for that RAG, that chat NLP interaction, I can use only one single command, like single line of code to create all that RAG experience. Now, everything was happening in the backend for me. I didn't have to do anything. The only thing I had to do is to use the right application accelerator. So as a developer, as a Spring developer, I don't really need to know anything about what's going on behind the scenes, how the model is being created, what models are exposed to me, because everything was pre-created by my platform engineer. And I will switch hats to be the platform engineer, and I will show you the backend as well. So now we are coming into the experience of the developer pushing that code into production. And we try to simplify that with a simple command, one command that will take the entire code, build it, deploy that, and allow me to then connect to my services. And the single command that I will use is the Tanzu deploy. Tanzu deploy will basically take that code right now and start building that code based on the language that I've used. It's identifying the code. It knows that by analyzing it, it knows that I'm using Spring. The first part of the build will be to compile that code and to create everything that I need for that application. And the second part will be to add the additional layers for the container image that I need to run that application as application dependencies and application runtime. Now that image will be pushed into my registry, which I'm using Harbor in this case. But in Tanzu build, we are not just building that image, because we know that part of that build is also creating the configuration manifest and the way that you take that image and deploy on any of the runtimes, either Kubernetes or CF. And because we know a lot about Spring and we own Spring, we know also that we can add a lot of different post steps for the build, which basically allows us to get best practices on the deployment phase. So what you can see now is that the package was created, pushed into my Harbor, and automatically it's being deployed. Now, as a developer, I don't really know where it's being deployed. We will get to that in the next phase, but it's being deployed to my environment based on the configuration that the platform engineer already created for me. Again, as the developer, I know that I need services. I just created my AI code with my application accelerator, and I need to connect to my backend services. But I don't really know what are the credentials, what's the configuration, ports, anything else. So I'm using Tanzu bind, a simple command that basically states, take my application, bind that into the backend service of my Gen AI tile, embeddings, chat, or another case is the PG vector. And the only thing I need to do as a developer is just binding that into the services. Again, simple command, Tanzu bind, Spring Metal, which is the application, backend service, Gen AI. Same goes for the PG vector, and that's it.
So now, all you did here was take a framework, which could be Spring or .NET, and then did a deploy.
Yep.
Right? Of course, a lot of words ran through the screen, but that was all curated for you. So why don't we go into now operate,
Yep.
right? So in the back end, what did the platform engineer have to curate, and how did they curate it? And looks like we are short on time, so we'll have to go a little quick on the operate.
No problem.
So what you're doing is, what you will see,
Sorry?
1 second, hold on.
Yeah. Needs to, yeah. Okay.
What you will see is, you as a platform engineer can curate a set of capabilities. The capabilities can be, hey, I want certain types of high availability. A developer doesn't need to know how the high availability is done. You curate that capability called high availability. I want encryption turned on. You decide how the encryption is turned on, how many bits, and so on, as a platform engineer. I want PII data filtering. You decide that. And the platform then executes when the developer asks. So let's go and see. And then you see a microservices-based app that has all the capabilities.
Okay. So now I'm switching.
And so, Oren, looks like we have to go fast on this one.
No problem. Now I'm switching ads. I'm the platform engineer. And as the platform engineer, I'm creating everything for my developer to then get that awesome experience he had with one command of deploy and another command for
So right now you're seeing foundations.
Yeah. So what you see right now is the infrastructure management for both runtimes, the foundation from Cloud Foundry and the Kubernetes clusters from Kubernetes. I'm using both. So I'm using front end on Kubernetes, back end on Cloud Foundry. Everything is managed under the Tanzu Platform Hub. So a single UI that manages both runtime with all the workloads across both of them. And now I'm basically going through the configuration I need for that specific application that has the AI use case. The first thing I'm configuring is the availability targets, which means where the application will land, the application replica and the resiliency of the application based on where are the clusters that the application will be deployed on. And then the second step will be to configure those clusters to have the capabilities the application needs to run. Purnima mentioned MTLS, ingress controllers, services, service bindings. All of those things should be configured on the clusters.
So you're just picking, right?
Yeah.
The capabilities, and automatically the clusters get configured for those capabilities.
Yeah, and specifically for specific application, you will have different specific configuration for the application. Let's say a DNS record or specific ingress controllers, and that you can achieve by using profiles. So you use profiles for applications, and the application will have everything that the application needs to run. If I will go forward a bit, I know that we don't have a lot of time. The developer already pushed the application into the space. So what we can see here now is that the application is running. We can see a topology map of the connectivity between the external networking and the application itself, the configuration of the space. What you can see here is that the application is deployed on 2 different availability targets, which means that it's running on 2 different clusters. And going forward into ingress and egress, that will show how the application is exposed. So as part of the platform, all the networking services are inside the space configurations. It's exposed with HTTP route, so you can see that once I'm browsing it, I'm getting to the same application with services. And if we are talking about services, I've mentioned that the front end is running on Kubernetes and the back end is running on Cloud Foundry. The way that we achieve that is by creating a pre-provisioned service, so creating all the different aspects of the service before even exposing that to the developer. So the developer doesn't really need to understand anything about credentials or configurations or anything else.
So here's an example of how we were able to do build once, but deploy it to many environments. Some of the use cases that we see for something like that is maybe a central office that might have a Cloud Foundry-based application running, but branch offices that might be running Kubernetes because they are smaller footprint. Yeah. Or sometimes we see data services with Kubernetes operators running on Kubernetes, connecting to Cloud Foundry services. Now, you can do all those use cases. You don't have to go to 3 different vendors for that. You can use one. With one platform, with one set of views, you can control that.
Yep.
Okay? So then let us go to, I think we should move to the optimize just.
Okay, just one thing is the scale. So one of the commands that the developer can do or the platform engineer is to scale the application, scale instances in the cluster, or scale the amount of clusters that I can deploy the application on. So you can have that resiliency across different environments and different clusters and runtimes. So it's not just Kubernetes.
I think that's another powerful feature, which is we borrowed from Cloud Foundry, but making it available across Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes, which is start, stop, restart, and the ability to scale, dynamically scale applications. Okay? Yep. So the next piece is really what we did was we have taken Tanzu Platform and paired it tightly with Cloud Foundry. VMware Cloud Foundation. So if you have Cloud Foundation and if you have the runtime enabled in it, Tanzu Platform will seamlessly install and it'll build up the entire configuration for you. We enable the TKGS that is running within the VCF. We connect to all the vSphere, NSX, and vSAN, and now you have a platform where you can start building applications. So this is our commitment. Of course, it is a work in progress, but as you are trying out our POCs, as you are trying out the solutions, hold us to that promise, which is we will work very tightly and seamlessly with VCF. So if you go to the next area, which is optimize, I don't think we'll have time to demo this, but I'll just quickly tell you what optimize is about. It is about this powerful capability where you may have 2 different stacks, be it Cloud Foundry or Kubernetes. How do we make sure that we keep repaving and repairing those environments, right? You may have a single stack, but automatically, when you need to patch and update it, we can create a new stack. We can patch the old stack up, and we can then patch the previous stack. So what you have is your application never goes down. Now, this is a concept, those of you know it as, they say, oh, Cloud Foundry has had it for a long time. Now we're making it available on Kubernetes, right? Nobody had orchestrated this whole dynamic move as a single command in Kubernetes before. That is the power, that is the promise that we are bringing to the market. It is available with both. The other thing that we are doing with the operate pieces, app operations in general have always been very disconnected. Different platforms. There's no way to solve problems. Now we are saying basic security monitoring, CVE monitoring, analysis of your code, analysis of your builds, remediation process will all be there in a central dashboard. That is what you call, that is part of the Tanzu platform. We are going to give you all of these pieces in a single platform where you can now build from code to image. You can bind to any services, be it database services, OSS packages, or AI/ML services. You can deploy with whatever configuration you choose, whether it is HA, rolling updates, blue-green deployments, and you can scale, start, stop, restart at will. That is the promise for Tanzu platform. Okay. So with that, I'm going to invite Bert over for a conversation with our customer. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I grab that from you?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. My name is Bert Thoma. I lead product management for Tanzu, and I'm very excited to introduce Tim Cook, Senior Director of Platform Engineering for Fiserv.
Bert. All right. First, thanks Bert, for the invitation. Also, apologize to anybody that was here to see Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. No free iPhones today. So I'm just going to give a quick little intro to Fiserv. So, we're the leading fintech out there, according to these fine publications in the top right there. Our aspiration, our corporate aspiration, is to move money and information in a way that moves the world. So you can see all the areas that we're number one in. So we pretty much do anything in the financial services world, from driving millions of ATMs to running online banking and core processing for our thousands of financial institutions out there, as well as simple things like printing monthly statements and the actual physical cards and mailing those out to the users. So we pretty much reach 100% of the U.S. households that are out there. So I'm part of the platform engineering group. Our mission there is to design and deploy the best-in-class platform technology to maximize our developer and operations productivity and earn our clients' trust through a robust, cost-effective, agile, and incredibly secure platform. So you'll see all the products there that make up platform engineering. Containers being the one that we're talking about today, but some other ones to note there: the developer experience at Golden Path to Production, Cloud Service Catalog. It's really setting up templates for our development teams to launch things into our public and private cloud easily. So, part of our container platforms includes the Tanzu deployment, and our TAS environment is our largest cloud-native containerized application platform at Fiserv. We've got 23 foundations that are deployed through the United States and EMEA, over 18,000 AIs that are out there, billions of mobile application payment transactions powered by Tanzu TAS. So on the right there, you see Spring Framework. Our most popular or our largest app that runs on TAS today is an app called Commerce Hub. So if you've ever bought or purchased a fast food meal through your mobile application or a hammer from your favorite hardware store, you're most likely running through Commerce Hub that's running on TAS in our data centers. Great uptime there, 5 nines. Then we've got TKGI also installed at our data center. It was our first managed Kubernetes offering. It's got about 30 K8s clusters, over 10,000 pods. It supports over 100 million banking users that rely on TKGI. One of the big success stories for TKGI is during the COVID-19 pandemic is the PPP loans that were going out. We helped process those and send those to our clients. It really went from concept to production in 8 days, which is unheard of in our industry.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Tim, for coming and having a conversation with us. Please have a seat. We'd just like to ask you a few questions. Platform engineering is a relatively new concept for a lot of organizations. You've been through quite a journey here. How would you define platform engineering, and what's been your approach to it?
Yeah, so we've actually been at it for a couple years now. So we're really trying to all of those products that you saw up there, that the containers and public cloud and private cloud, instead of treating those as individual products, we're trying to create the platform as a product, right? So making it simple for our developers. That's the developer experience is the biggest thing, right? So no 5 different portals that they have to log into. The onboarding experience has to be super easy for them, and truly just knocking down the walls for them to get their code to production fast.
That's really an interesting concept of getting the platform to be treated like a product.
Yeah.
But it strikes me that convincing these app teams to change the way they've been doing it before and now doing it something that's now centralized could be a challenge. What kind of challenges did you face in getting people to adopt it?
Yeah, so when we first brought in Cloud Foundry back in the pivotal days, we partnered with some of our more advanced developer teams that knew a whole lot more about just containerized applications, those modern apps. So we brought in our Tanzu Labs teams and had some help from them to really partner with them and train our developer teams to pick that up. And now we're still on the journey of moving to this platform as a whole, this platform engineering concept.
Makes sense. So starting with some advanced customers and then bringing in help when you need it. I think that makes great sense. In selecting the technology for a platform, what characteristics were you looking for?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, making it truly simple for the end user. No 5 different GUIs. API first is a huge thing that we're talking through right now, and making it to where it's self-service, right? So a developer doesn't need to go talk to 10 different teams in order to get their job done. So it has to be something that's self-service. It also needs to be flexible to where if their use case for their project doesn't necessarily line up 100% to our offering, have the flexibility for, say, a different kind of database that they need for them to be able to go out there and provision it themselves. And of course, my cyber team would kill me if I didn't say it was secure by default.
Yep. Can't forget security. That's great. So now that you've had Tanzu Platform in there for a little while, what kind of benefits have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is that comes to mind is that the COVID-19 example, to where, I mean, it truly broke down the walls of, it's something that possibly could have been done. CEO basically says, yes, we're going to do this immediately and get rid of all the red tape in a financial services corporation like ourselves. But we didn't really need to go through all of those, jump through all those hoops, and the idea of this from concept to production, 8 days, and it helped the world get some money in a time of desperation.
I mean, that's astounding. Just that. Final question.
Yep.
Now that you've kind of come to this point, you seem like a mature, space. Where to from here? What's next?
Yeah, so it's continuing on that platform engineering journey. So we've always got room to improve. Like I mentioned, we're right now heavily focused on the onboarding experience, to where developers just need to bring in what we call an APM number. That's just something that exists in a CMDB, and then out pops an email. They go through a checklist of things that they need for their project. Out pops an email that gives them all the information and gives them the ability to go and do it a lot themselves without needing to go talk to 5 different product managers in all of those different platforms. So I mean, there's that, and then with the VCF announcements, we're trying to get to where we have Kubernetes as a dial tone, like Purnima was saying, to where and hopefully get to where our developers can truly use that CF mentality, CF push mentality for a Kubernetes environment.
Well, that's great. Tim, very excited by the success, and I really appreciate you coming on stage here to present what you've done. And I think, we'd love to follow you going forward.
Awesome.
Thanks very much. So I would like to kind of take you through the announcements that we have. We're very excited about a milestone release that we have for Tanzu called Tanzu Platform 10. And in Tanzu Platform 10, we have some things that we've been working on in our labs for quite some time. First of all, we've taken the simple Cloud Foundry developer experience, and now we have extended this, and we've provide the same similar experience that we have for Cloud Foundry now for Kubernetes. So developers can develop their Kubernetes containers without having to know the intricacies of Kubernetes. We've provided now exclusive Spring performance additions and enhancements. So Spring running on Tanzu Platform will run 5 times and start up 5 times faster, along with some governance and compliance capabilities that make it easy for you to run FIPS and NIST compliance and support the audits that you might have to encounter. We support every application type. Tanzu Platform is polyglot by nature, right? So any language, any framework, including server and stateful and stateless applications. And we now provide unified visibility of applications, the topology of the applications, all the way through the foundations, the zones, the clusters, and the regions that they run on. Tanzu Platform is a multi-cloud solution, but we have optimized it for running on VCF. We have seamless install with pre-flight checks and dependency mapping when you're installing on a VCF. We support the off-the-grid, air-gapped, these highly regulated environments, so you can install and use Tanzu Platform when there's no connection to the internet. We provide automated binding to VMware Private AI Foundation LLMs, and we have integration with VMware Avi for global server load balancing and failover. And I'm really excited to talk about the new solution that we announced here, which is called Tanzu AI Solutions. It is not a separate product. It is something that you get as part of Tanzu Platform, but it provides an integrated experience for creating generative AI applications. And it starts with a framework with Spring AI that allows you to now attach to more models from different providers and supporting text and audio and video. Secure and brokered self-service access to those LLMs. It allows you to monitor your Gen AI applications so you can see throughput and latency and get the audit logs. And it supports the VMware Private AI Foundation, the models, the NVIDIA LLMs that are running on Private AI Foundation. And we've invested a lot on our data solutions. So we've dramatically increased the performance, functionality, scalability, reliability of Gemfire, Greenplum, Postgres, and RabbitMQ. So really excited to talk about all of these new accomplishments that we have with Tanzu Platform AI and Tanzu Platform 10. We invite you to join our Tanzu AI Design Partner Program, and would love for you to kind of take note of this and sign up as an early adopter of our Tanzu AI. Give us feedback. So thanks very much. Thank you for coming.